Well, good morning. It is September 8th, day 120 on the trail for me. I've left the Burkes Garden Hostel. Renee, one of the caretakers, shuttled me and the two other hikers back to the road. And they're hiking north and I'm hiking south. It was cold this morning. Especially down in the valley, it was cold. There was a little bit of frost on the grass. Yeah. It's cool up here, but it's going to warm up. It's going to be in the 60s today, I think. So not too bad. The plan for today is about 15 and a half miles. And that's going to get me to a shelter area. Lots of little ups and downs to begin with. Then a more significant, somewhat of a climb and a big descent. And then a couple other smaller climbs and descents. And I have to do a water carry, I think, the last few miles to my shelter. I think there's good water at Lick Creek, I think is the name of it. Good water there, and then no more. And I don't think there's any water until then. So I've got got to go about 12 miles. So I should be okay. I've got 2.5 liters of water. That should be good. Especially as cool as it is. The humidity's not too bad. Yeah, should be okay. All right, well, as always, if I see anything interesting, I'll grab a picture or some video. But for now, here's what the trail looks like. This isn't a great view, but you can see this ridge, and this ridge is actually one mountain, and you can see the valley is the depression of this one mountain where it destabilized and fell in, however long ago. Pretty neat. So yeah, this is Burkes Garden. I'm going to try and go online later and find an aerial view so you can really see what this area looks like from above. Alright, so this is the Chestnut Knob Shelter. It's right along. It's an enclosed shelter. It looks like it's got some bunks here. Not staying here, but would have been a nice place to stay. Oh, and look over here. Alright, so we get a good view here of Burkes Garden. Right. What a view from here. Oh my goodness. Oh, look at those ridge lines. All right, well, just made my last climb, and now I'm in the descent toward last significant climb. I think I've got a little bit more toward the end. But along the way, I saw a bear. Now, I saw one just very briefly last week with Radioactive. He pointed it out to me, and it was gone before I really got a good view of it. This one, I heard some rustling maybe 20 feet ahead of me in the bushes, and it poked its head out on the trail. It saw me and took off. Then, all right, so then I kept going and hit a switchback, and again, I sort of heard some rustling, and I saw it coming up the trail again on me. And again, it saw me and turned tail and ran. So that was kind of cool. They are naturally afraid of us and don't want anything to do with us. They only get curious if they get food from our sites, our campsites. So, got to avoid them. So that was kind of cool. Other than that, hasn't been too much to see since that great view of the ridge lines earlier. It's been, just forest. All right, well, I'm probably about 2 miles from the Maul shelter. I'm gonna have to grab some water along the way at some point when I hit it, because I don't think there's any water there. So I will pick back up then. But for now, here's what the trail looks like. All right, so this is the trail, and right here is the shelter. The Maul shelter. Not much to it. All right, take a look around and decide what I'm doing. Well, all set for the evening. There were a couple of tent sites nearby, but they weren't very flat, and the insects aren't too bad, so I just sat up in the shelter. Should be a nice cold night tonight, probably down in the 50s. It's already in the low 60s right now. Probably don't need the puffy, but whatever. So it was a pretty not too bad of a day hiking. Got a couple great views. The Chestnut Knob, and then along that ridge and that field. Gosh, it was a great view of the ridge lines further away. Got to see a bear, so that was nice. The plan for tomorrow is about 14 and a half miles, and that's going to get me to a roadway and near Atkins, Virginia. I've been saying Marion, but it's really Atkins. You can get to Marion from Atkins, but I'm not planning to get that far in. I'm just going to stay near Atkins, and there's a hostel there with something interesting that I'm looking forward to. I was going to contact them today, but I've had very limited cell signal, and each time I checked, there wasn't any. So I'll call them at some point tomorrow morning and make sure that everything's okay for me to stay there. I wouldn't expect there to be any issues. It says they're open, but you just never know, unfortunately. And I don't know if I think there's a couple good views tomorrow at some point, but we'll see. And then the next segment pretty much gets me to the end of Virginia. So after Atkins, it's going to be another 5 days, and that'll get me to Damascus. and from Damascus, it's just a few miles to the Tennessee border. So I'm finally almost done with Virginia. My goodness, this state takes forever. But almost there. And then Damascus is really a hiker town. There's several hostels and lots of restaurants. The trail goes right through it, so that's really nice. I like it when it does that. All right, let's see. A big thank you to the Towsons for generously donating again to my adventure. I really appreciate it. Every penny that's been donated has certainly helped, and it's that money's going to help with the next resupply to get me into Damascus. So again, thank you. Look forward to seeing you again when I get back, and we'll share a couple beers. As always, if you've stuck through to the end, you know I appreciate it. I'll see you again tomorrow on the trail.